Okay, I've got some small things to share that I've finished. When I was I was out in the car waiting for my mom's procedure to be done, her test on her gallbladder and other organ. I brought my bag of scrap lace and fabric, and I guess it's caught under my chair. And I got some flowers made, and then I made some more flowers at home. I'm still kind of in the mood to make flowers, but I have to get my table cleaned off so that I can photograph another lot of jewelry for the store. So, Mom's been selling a lot of Indian seed bead earrings with the 12th man, number on it. Number 12. It's the Super Bowl. Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl apparently again. I'm not really a sports fanatic, but I'm not really into sports at all, let me put it that way. But those are the only things that have been selling. So, okay. So some flowers I like better than others, but kind of a hit and miss as to whether I'm gonna like the flower or not. I should wheel it down. So this was one of the flower centers that I had made. I'm not sure if this lace came from Leslie or Shay or the thrift store. I don't know about that one. And I don't make a lot of flowers with the eyelet lace, not because I don't like eyelet lace, but it doesn't bunch very well. The top seam is too thick, it doesn't want to bunch, but I got a couple decent flowers with that. I don't know what this is. It's probably a really tacky earring or something. Another. This was like lace sewed together, like this one. These two laces were already sewed together, the cream and the green. And this lace didn't look so hot sewn together, so, sewn into a flower, so I only made one of those. This one was made with some blue eyelet lace that Leslie had given me. And I just cut the top seam off and then cut it in half again because it was a really wide lace. I've got that nice blue color in the background. And then I like to do the running stitch too long, too much down so that I can curl it instead of it just being a regular lollipop flower that it's got, that it curls inwards. Here's another one where I did it where it's curling inwards. Some of the centers are junk jewelry, some are buttons, some are those centers that I made. Oh, I think this green lace came from Leslie. One of my flower centers. There they are. This was a brad that I got from Bonnie. This green lace, once again, came from Leslie. I really love how this one turned out. This was a scrap of ribbon that came from Leslie. And I don't really have ribbon scraps in my scrap lace bag, which is like this big laundry bag full of scraps of lace. I usually keep all my ribbon, with the ribbon. Even if it's just a little scrap of ribbon, I'll still keep it with the ribbon. But this was in there, and I decided to give it a go to see if it would work, and this wired ribbon actually made a really beautiful flower, I think. Blue laces from Leslie. And then I got one ornament made. I have been working on those, I did those snowman ornaments, but you guys, if you watched the tutorial, then you've already basically seen what all of them look like with varying sizes. When I was making the snowman noses, I had a leftover piece of the celluclay. I had mixed up too much of the celluclay, and even though the instructions say that you can store the wet paper mash for a couple of weeks, what I've come to find is that it just does not, it's not as workable of a material as when you first mix it up. So I didn't have anything in mind that I wanted to do with the leftovers, and I certainly didn't want to pull out my polymer clay stuff where all of my molds are. So I just flattened it the best I could, without pulling out my polymer clay stuff for the rolling pin thingy. And so I flattened it the best I could with my hand, let it dry, and then cut it into a circle, and it's just been sitting on my table until I could figure out what to do with it. And then I'm like, well, I bet it would look cool on a snowflake, but I still had to find something to put on this hardened piece of paper mache. So I took a panel of napkin that I got from Leslie, glued it on there, and then glued on some glitter. I put a layer of Elmer's glue over top of that so that the glitter didn't flake off. And then I stuck it on the back of one of these snowflakes that I got from Bonnie. I haven't put a hanger on this yet. There was a hanger on it, but the hangers, the pieces of tube cord were tied in such weird random places. I think a blind person did it, to be frank, because they're tied in weird, like here's one where it's tied, and then the hole you're supposed to tie it in is right right here. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but, I glued after, this was done drying, I just glued it onto the snowflake, and I think I said that I got those from Bonnie, and then I took a piece of black sparkle, eyelash yarn, and then a piece of white eyelash yarn, and I got the white from Leslie, and just glued it around the edge, and then these are 3 little roses that were made by Shay. And it's kind of a different color scheme for a Christmas ornament, but I'm okay with all kinds of color schemes when it comes to Christmas. I like all different colors and their schemes. So, I don't know. It's a different ornament, but I like it. Especially because I didn't spend a lot of effort and time on it. It was just... I'm glad I didn't waste that little ball of instant paper mache. So before I did the flowers and that ornament, I had done some art tiles. I wasn't sure if I was going to show them to you or not, because most of it's a bust. They didn't come out very well, and I'll explain why. But I figured it's good to show your mistakes, because you learn from your mistakes, and it'll help someone else not create the same mistake and ruin a bunch of their art materials. Let me get them here. I wasn't prepared when I turned on the camera. Okay, so Johnny had given me some Maya Road chipboard. They were called flowers. And I knew I wanted to work with them right away, but I didn't know how to work with them, because maybe someone else would be more gutsy than I would, but I sure as heck wasn't going to lay paper down on a shape like this, or a shape like this, which I've scribbled all over because I get distracted and start scribbling, and then try and cut out the shape with the X-Acto knife. That's just not me. So I'm like, well, what if you, and I've never done this before. I've always found little images to make art tiles with, and so I was like, well, what if you painted them white and then stamped them and colored them and then put some kind of glaze over it? So I decided that's what I was going to do. So I painted them all white, and my first mistake was painting them with a glossy white paint. And glossy means that there's varnish in the paint. So that made coloring the images extremely difficult. I seriously worked on these for a couple weeks. I was just doing little bits at a time at my computer until I got frustrated enough and set it aside until I decided to work on them again. It was very hard to get a nice colored image. I tried using some watercolor markers, tried using the Bic markers, regular Sharpies, all kinds of things, gel pens. Nothing was working out too fantastic. The thing that seemed to work the best were these, from the types of coloring materials that I happen to have, were these La Plume water color markers, Marvy watercolor markers that I got from Bonnie. So I got them all colored, and I'll go ahead and show them to you, and I'll explain what went wrong on the ones that obviously went horribly wrong. So here's the first one. He turned out really cute. I got this stamp from Leslie. I colored him with a regular Sharpie marker, not the alcohol Bic markets. And then This was some mermaid color stickles I got from Bonnie, and I put glossy accents over him. He turned out fine. Then there's this one. There's some clear stickles around the edge. This was a regular Sharpie. Again, yeah, it's glossy accents. I realized that my glossy accents had started to have a yellow tinge to it, so it's apparently old. I'm thinking about, I used up basically my bottle, so I'm thinking about buying Dimensional Mod Podge Magic next. So here's this one, little stamp I got from thrift store one time, and a lot buy. All of my surfaces in here are slanted, as well as the counters out there in the kitchen, which is where I ended up taking most of them to dry so I could continue working. And I covered this one with clear gel tacky glue Aleene's. So you can see that because of the slanted surfaces, it, you know, moved away from the edge there. This was colored with fine point Sharpie markers, the ones with the little needle tip thingy. Okay, here's a good example of one that went horribly wrong. So Santa Claus stamp came from Leslie, and I colored most of it with regular Sharpie, and then there were some bits that were colored with the alcohol Bic markers, market markers, and then it was covered with glossy accents. And apparently, glossy accents makes Bic markets bleed in all kinds of colors that they weren't originally. So, that is why there is greenness all over Santy, in the doll, in the duck. So, not good. Let's see here. Oh yes. Here is another example of a zombie child. This was alcohol, the Bic market, so it turned the child green. And the slanted surface, so it moved away from the edge on top of that. So this one will have to be thrown out. Or actually, I was gonna see. I think I was playing around with it, and I think I can, yep, I can peel off this so I could, you know, hopefully get a use out of this chipboard. Because I really hate throwing away my materials. There isn't an endless amount of money to buy new materials. So yeah, this one was dead. Santy was dead. Oh, here's another zombie. Most of this was done with Bic markets. And this drum, I can't even tell you what color the drum was. It was probably, geez, I don't know. I don't know what color that drum was before I put the glossy accents over it. And I did a lot of it with this gold jelly roll pen I got from Bonnie, and the jelly roll had no problem with the glossy accents. So, yep, another dud here. And I'm really upset, especially with this mermaid stickles, because I love it so much, and I'm really upset that I messed it up. And I bet you're wondering why I continue to put glossy accents over ones that I've used alcohol markers on, and it was because it had a delayed bleeding effect. It didn't start bleeding until I was out of the room, and I came back half hour later and realized I had a few zombie children art tiles. So unfortunately, I was too quick at covering these before I noticed the horrible effect that was happening. So here's another bleeder. This one feels like I used the tacky glue on it, and I had used it was an EK Tools watercolor marker on the scarf here, and it bled pretty bad. I'm actually thinking about saving this one. Like, I could do some red paint splatters or something, and, you know, it just have a watercolor effect. Here's another one. I think there's some dog hair. This had some bleeding up into the face, but it's not bad because it looks like the fox is blushing. Camera doesn't look like it's picking up on the red coming into the face, but there's red there. So this one, this one was really frustrating. I had stuck a layer of glitter glue. You know, this was done with the alcohol Bic markets. And I had stuck a layer of glitter glue, clear glitter glue, over the entire thing. That clear glitter glue should have sealed in that color. You know, that glitter glue did not make the Bic market bleed. But, I then decided to put a layer of glossy accents over top of that. And somehow the glossy accents penetrated the layer of glitter glue that was over the entire thing. And it made the butterfly bleed. But I'm still going to keep it. I figured it'd be a cool watercolor effect. Things are just not going well. So this one, I was playing with my, let's see if I can get one out here. My children's gel-in rolls. They're like, I assume to be like gelatos. And I made the background too dark, so I tried stamping on it, and it just wasn't showing up because the background was too dark. So these were some dragonfly rub-ons that I got from Bonnie. And the name of the rub-ons is like Easy Rub-Ons or something like that. And I swear it's the hardest brand of rub-on to actually rub on. It takes a lot of muscle, a lot of time and scraping to get the images off the plastic. But, yeah, there's that one. These two, I had done the backgrounds with my homemade glimmer sprays that I have made from the Martha Stewart Pearl paints. And this one, I got the edge of the rubber on, and so I used some O'Shea's flowers to cover up most of it. So these ones didn't turn out bad, but I forgot about the angle of every single surface in this cabin. And of course it drifted away from the edge. Here's a cute little Santa. His hand is green because of the alcohol market. The brown Bic market didn't bleed too bad, but it did turn his hand green. And then, I forgot to say this was a stamp I got from Bonnie. Don't know. Alright, this one. So, I decided to glitter the sky late in the game. And that's when, you know, the freak disaster zombie children and animals happened. And I had done this whole thing in alcohol markers, so I just decided not to put tacky glue or glossy accents over it. So, there's that one. Okay, that's everything I've done. Thank you for watching.